What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another stream. Just give me a second to get my lights going here because I forgot to turn them on. Like a ding dong. There we go. So, where is everybody at tonight? That is the question of the day. So, if you're in the chat, please do me a favor. Hit a 5. Why? I just feel like it. Hit a 5. You can hear me fine. And if you are watching for the first time, please hit the like, share, subscribe. If you're a person who always hangs out with us all the time, please hit the like, share, subscribe. I gotta find a better intro than that. I definitely. Any ideas, please let me know. So, guys, the show of the topic. This is a movie. Movie, not a show first. It was a show, excuse me, movie what I grew up very, very dearly to my heart. Karate Kid. I say it that way because that's how we pronounced it back in the day. The Karate Kid. So the Karate Kid is very, very meaningful to me because it's something I grew up on. I'll be straight up with you guys. I grew up on first, and it's something I do enjoy growing up. When I remember karate tournaments, I remember watching the Karate Kid. Whoa, whoa. Him, the crane kick. I don't know how many times I remember people coming up to me going like, whoa, like they're gonna actually do it. But man, sometimes I actually wanted to do it to them, but not always. I wanted to sometimes. So it was it's something I actually love doing. I love watching. It was one of my favorite martial art movies. To be straight up with everybody, I always love watching it. So, if you are a fan of the Karate Kid movies, not the Cobra Kai show, the Karate Kid movies, please put in the comments. What is your favorite scene or favorite memory from it? So give me your favorite memory, favorite scene. So let me do one little thing here, and we're gonna get right into it. And right there we go. Bada bing. Okay, so I get my notes up really fast because I forgot to open it. Like a dum dum I am. All right. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, guys, I felt a little behind because work. My bad. Okay, so let's break this down first. So the Karate Kid was we thought at the time when the movie came out, it was about this kid that got bullied. But was he really bullied? The question is. Let's not answer that question until everybody start coming in. But do you? Okay, Daniel got bullied. He got beat up. Then he met Mr. Miyagi as a custodian guy. We're like, okay, I will let him go. That. So then he fights him in a karate tournament. Mr. Miyagi teaches him and beats him as his first ever karate tournament. Okay, I will let it go. I'll give him that. Again, this is a movie, guys. Remember, this is not real life. So then we go into the second one. He travels to Okinawa, trains with Mr. Miyagi in the homeland of karate, Okinawa. And he actually beats one of the top students in Okinawa. Okay? And it fought to the death, by the way. Keyword, fight to the death. Whoa. That is some hard shit right there. Alright, then we go to the third one. The badass boy of karate shows up, challenges him to fight him. He denies, and then he keeps fucking with him till he says, yeah, fuck it, I'll sign the paper, just leave me alone. And the whole time, Miyagi didn't want to train him. Then, Silver trained him, knowing he's behind closed doors. He's actually a Cobra Kai guy. Okay, I'll give you that. two-faced shit. Oh, that can happen in real life. Then Mr. Miyagi actually trains him, and he beats him with a kata in a fighting tournament. A little far-fetched, but okay, I'll give you again. It's a movie. Then, are we going to talk about the elephant in the room first before we move on to the sequels to the show? Let's talk about two elephants in the room. It's not one, but it's two. Then was the next Karate Kid. Then he trains this woman, supposed to be, a female version of the Karate Kid that never picked up well. I think it was pretty actually a bad version of it actually. I personally did not like it. It was, hey, there's Mariana. What's going on, Mariana? Hopefully your equipment is working better this time. The same. Mariana, in the comments, what is your best memory or best scene from any of the Karate Kid movies? And go. So I was saying now, the next Karate Kid wasn't my favorite. I'm not sure what it actually scored overall reviews. I'm actually gonna look it up right now because I'm curious. Okay, let's see. Where is it? Because they had a bunch of them. Okay, that next Karate Kid did. It scored 4.5 out of 10 and 7% and around percent. Holy shit, that's actually fucking bad. 7% is very low. So then, after the Karate Kid, let's talk about the second elephant. The Karate Kid. That I actually like this version. You're gonna guys give me shit for this, but the Karate Kid, what version was it? That never. Hang on a second. This shit is all fucked up here. And Mr. President is running very late today. So what is going on, Paul? Hope you have a safe drive, and hopefully you have fun wherever you went to. Where is that movie? Alright, let's try it a different way. 2010, there it is. The 2010 version Karate Kid with Will Smith and Jackie Chan. People talk shit on this. It scored a 6.5 out of 10 and a 65 and 3.5 in lemon box. I think it was actually better than people thought it was. I think it didn't get it got bad shit for no reason. So I think it did better. Again, I need to text one person who is maybe coming on. I'm not sure. Okay, let's read Mariana's scene before we move on to and finish my statement. Then Karate Kid 2010. So her saying, okay, first one, best scene when Danny LaRusso defeats John Lawrence in the with the high kick. Okay, it's a snap kick technically. I'll give you that. The crane kick, the snap kick, the front kick, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that was actually a very classical scene, and is actually one of the best moves you can see, hands down. I don't care who you are. Oh shit! Before I forget, guys, let me throw the link in the chat. Whoever wants to join us, welcome to join us whenever. All right. So, as I was saying, back to Karate Kid 2010. Okay, I like the whole movie. I like how he met Mr. Chan, no, that version of Mr. Miyagi, because remember there was not supposed to be a new Mr. Miyagi. It was supposed to be a reboot, and people didn't like that for some reason. I don't know why. I think it was a good one. So I thought it was a very, very, very good movie actually overall. Give me 1 second, guys. So the way he trained was different. He had different heartaches, different. He was in a different country. I like that. It was different. Then you had him getting bullied because he was American in a different country. I like that too. I like how he met Mr. Han. Mr. Han was very harsh on him. But Mr. Han wasn't a fighter. He became a fighter. Then Mr. Han found out he lost his whole family. If I remember, it was an argument or he was drinking. I can't remember which one it was. I'm pretty sure he was arguing. So then it gets even better. Then the kid actually saves him and he says, "Let's go, train me." As he was half drunk and half teared up, he actually starts training him. Then he fights in the tournament. In the tournament, like I remember the first thing he fought him when it was like point system. Like he smiles when in point, like no, don't smile seriously. And then he won. Let's talk about the standout. Let's talk before we move on to the what is the next one? It was on the list here. The new Craig 2025 is supposed to be a new one coming out. And I really, really want to speak about that in a minute. But before we get into that one, I want to talk about one major couple minutes. Let's talk about the soundtracks for a second. Cry Kid 1, great soundtrack, love it. Every sound of it. Cry Kid 2, same concept, great soundtrack. Same thing with the third one. The next Cry Kid, I don't remember too much about the soundtrack, so I'm gonna call great. No. Now, the next Cry Kid, Cry Kid 2010 was Will Smith. I'm J.D. Smith again and Jackie Chan. I think it was a great soundtrack. I liked it. I liked everything about it, to be honest with you guys. Again, people didn't like it. I actually did enjoy it. I think it was a very, very, very good movie. I give it probably a 9 out of 10 very easily. Now, before we go to Cobra Kai, let's talk about one more thing here really fast. Let's talk about the Karate Kid 20. Oh, it's called Karate Kid, not the Karate Kid. It's hard to say. It's hard to say without the Karate Kid. Karate Kid. So what information we have at this moment? Jackie Chan actually is in it with Mr. Han. I'm very surprised. Danny Reloso's in it. Some of the other characters from the Karate Kid movies franchise, like J.D. Smith is in it. Way older. I'm not sure what movie he's from, but I know he probably was one of the Karate Kid movies. Don't remember which one. To be honest with you guys, I think it was probably the Will Smith one. Okay, we're gonna have his daughter, quote unquote, coming back. Let's see who else at this moment. I'm not sure, but I know she's a very good actor. Ming Yang Wing. I apologize, I'm butchering that name. She was in a lot of she was the Agent of Shield. I remember her. That's where Boba Fett and some others. She was the voice of Mulan, and so on. Mariana saying, I know she spelled it. Coming out. Cannot wait for the. I'm sorry. I'm trying to puzzle this together. Cannot wait for the new Karate Kid movie to come out, pretty much. And I agree with her. It's actually good. Because, she did some spelling errands there. That's okay. Like, I do them all the time. But the Karate Kid is, I think, is going to be more is going to come to that movie and show. I think we're just getting breaking the peak now, how good it is, and it's going to get better and better and better. We're just in the beginning parts of this, and I know that we're just ending the show now. King, my man's in the house. King, the link is in the chat. If you can make it, be great, and it'd be awesome to hear see your ass up here once in a blue moon, actually. Seriously, if you got time, jump in, brother. But the Karate Kid, I can't say anything bad about it. It's like now let's talk about the show for a minute here. So when I first heard about this Karate Kid show, Cobra Kai, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be cheesy as fuck. So I thought, Daniel LaRusso was not gonna be in it at all. I don't think he was gonna even be a part of it. I didn't think he was gonna be even present about it. I was like, where the hell are they thinking? I was like kind of like upset at first. And I was like, come on, he has to show some point of faith. And oh, come on, you can relax and do the show at the same time, you big baby. So, man, I was trying to thought here. What was I? Okay, so I thought this was gonna be based all about the Cobra Kai show. I mean the movie, show. Excuse me. I didn't think any of this was gonna be involved like way it played out. I don't think Daniel LaRusso was gonna be it. I think Johnny was gonna be the main character. That's all I thought. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna be a good movie. I don't think it's gonna be a good show in general. I thought it was a movie at first when I saw the trailer. Then I'm like, okay. So I remember seeing now clips with Danny in it. I'm like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa! Now you got my attention here, my man. Okay, now I thought, okay, they're gonna revive the rivalry. They're going to go back at it. So it's gonna be, Johnny and Danny as grums going at it. I'm like, okay, maybe at their age is kind of far fetched. But at 62 years old, one is at 62 and the other one is 58. It's kind of far fetched, but is it? Listen, how many people hold their rivalries for years and years and years, and this still has not let go of the grudges? Okay, let's see where it goes. So then I was one of those guys who actually got a Netflix prescription just for that. So I watched it. No, I lied to you guys. The first 2 or 3 episodes were free. Then you had to get a prescription. I did, and I did cancel it afterwards. To be honest with you guys, and then I got it again. But anyway, that wasn't Netflix. I'm sorry, it was YouTube. Oh, my bad. Sorry, YouTube. I was one of those sneaky guys back then. But now I am a full member. It's YouTube Prime, so I think I get a pass on that. But anyway, so when I started watching, I'm like, oh, this is actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it would be worse than it was. I remember talking to people. Everybody thought, this is going to be cheesy. This is going to suck. This is going to be the worst thing ever. Why are they doing this? Yada, yada, yada. Not looking back, I go, huh. So the story hasn't ended. So after watching the first couple episodes, like, wait a minute. So Danny wasn't the victim. Maybe Johnny was. Okay, they always say anything goes in love and war. I going to agree with that statement right now. So who is the victim? In your own personal opinion, guys, I want to hear in the comments who you guys think is the victim in the Cobra Kai show. Guys, remember, I have the link in the chat. So whoever wants to show and join us, please feel welcome. Just hit the link and get in here. Just have a nice conversation with me. So, who was the real victim? That is a question of the day, I think. That question, it can go so many different ways. So let's kind of break this down for a minute. So Danny's the new kid in on the block. He didn't know that was his girlfriend, ex girlfriend. So he found her cute, whatever, he talked to her, whatever. Didn't do nothing wrong if you really think about it. But the way Danny acted, he could have like, yo, dude, that's my ex, yo, good show, dude. Like, he could have talked to him a little better about it, but he didn't. He went after him and after him and after him. Okay. Then you gonna say, but when Danny found out, he could have like spoken to him. Yes, in his defense, he could have. You're right. He could have gone up to him like, yo, dude, my bad. I didn't know that was your girl. But he didn't. Maybe the damage was too late. Too late now. Maybe the damage is done. Okay. Then you can say maybe Johnny was too aggressive about it. Johnny did jump him. Let's be honest here. He did get jumped. But it's not only his fault. You also have Danny who holds him down when he's trying to light up a joint. Okay, so I think they were both tick tack. They're both going after each other, and I think it was like, oh man, who is right, who is wrong at this point? That's the question. The question is, which side do you want to believe? Because it could be either way. I think both are wrong and both are right in the same time. So you got Danny who went after the girl, but Johnny also pushed him to the limits. He got jumped, but Danny also attacked him back. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like normal high school bullshit, bro. Like normal high school stuff. I will give him that. But which one do you believe? Like my first, how did the idea review itself when Karate Kid through Cobra Kai came about? That is a good question. I think it was a lot more story was left on the writing board. There's a lot more story for us to tell that was not fully told. And when we actually start reviewing the story, and it came to the point that Karate Kid is coming around the corner, we questioned it. We questioned a lot. To the point, like, even to this day, like, was it good? Like, I'll be honest with you guys, the reviews on this is ridiculous high. Like, 6.5 out of 10, 92 at Rotten Tomato. I think YouTube had a gold mine in their hands. But I don't think they knew how to end it or how to, use it. And I think they were trying to get away from making shows like that. That's why they sold the rights away. I was actually pissed. Before we move on, let's read Mariana's comment. I like watching Cobra Kai, but I think John Russell is the victim. Okay, Mariana, please explain in the comments, or you can jump on like you did last time. It's fine. Hopefully your equipment works. Is why do you think he is the victim? I like to hear that, even in the chats, or you want to come on again. You can keep your camera off. It's fine. But why do you think he's the victim? I like to hear that from you. So, but I said that. So, who is the victim now? Who is the victim of Karate Kid? I think it go both ways again. I think both are victim and both are innocent at the same time. Like one after his girl, one egged the other one on. We go back and forth, back and forth. So, who is actually the victim here? That is a question. Like, I think we're never gonna answer that. Like, but who is the better fighter either? Like, for example, like they have fought in Karate Kid show, and they actually show both are equally matched. Excuse me. I think both of them are equally matched. Because, you know what? I will not say they're both an equal match, unfortunately. From when the show left off, when the first Karate Kid movie left off, where it ended, There is no way fucking hell LaRusso should have won that match. Very simple. From the ability, the training he had versus the training Johnny had. Johnny had years and years of training. There is no way his first professional, quote unquote, professional or martial art, whatever you want to call it, his first martial art tournament, he should have won that match. There is no way. No way. I don't care who you are. You're going against a black belt that trained how many years? Then you have fucking Johnny, LaRusso, who trained for 6 months, few months, 4 months, 5 months. I don't know. They never specified said in the show, shooting in the movie. So how the hell did he win that match? That he shouldn't have won that match. No way. So you telling me he's better than a black belt who trained all these years? I have a hard time believing that. What do you guys think? Do you guys even believe that's even possible? Because I don't. I do not believe that for 1 minute that is even possible. No way. Because how can a black belt who's been training for years lose that? It makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense completely to me. And like it's, I have a hard time believing as a martial artist because you telling me a punk ass kid who has never even thrown a real punch into one except training a little bit. I just keep repeating myself because I don't see how is realistically. I know it's a movie still, but that part, even for a movie, is far fetched. Now, if you tell me, okay, he was trained for a full year, okay, I can see some of reality in there, but I don't see more than that. That's all I see is I don't see how it is even possible. So now let's talk about another scenario here for a minute. LaRusso went to Okinawa, fought the best student on the island. Keyword, best student. Not only he fought him to the death. That LaRusso's been training for what? A year at a time? Yeah, let's look up Google what they say here about him and how long he actually trained. Let me see what I get out of this. I'm curious. They get you good here. So it says that in the Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso is trained in Okonajukuru Karate with his sensei Mr. Miyagi for undisclosed amount of time before the tournament. Miyagi taught Danny karate and a life lesson. And he gets more in details. Let's see if he has more here. Any chance? To Yeah, it has no information. Now, let's switch the roles here for a minute. Let's see how long did Johnny. All right, my brother, just drive safe, man. You know, that's what matters the most. All right, let's see how long did what's his face? Johnny train for now. And if it has any information. Yeah, fucker. So it's quoting here. It says, one day in 1979, when riding his bicycle, a 12-year-old Johnny discovered the Cobra Kai dojo and spent the next 5 years learning Tai Sundo under Sensei John Kreese. Okay, by that said, we have at least several years training under Johnny. Now you can argue one style is better than the other, whatever. Tomato, tomato. I'm not going to get into that debate tonight. But the debate I am going to get into, how did Danny win that match with a limited... He's pretty much a white belt going in that tournament. He went in as a white belt. And this guy is a fucking black belt. How the fuck did he win that? That's what I want to know. I am still mind baffled. How is that even possible? I don't understand that. It doesn't even make sense. Even as a movie comes in. Like, okay, if you tell me, yeah, Danny had a little experience from the Y. Okay. But nowhere near Johnny. Johnny has won tournaments after tournaments. So, again, how is that even possible? So, what was the key factor of the decision to tell the story? Journalists, and I think again, like I know we're talking about this again. Is a lot of story was left on the table. Why tell Johnny's story? Because that day affected his whole life, and people don't realize that. What do you mean you didn't fucking watch it? You should get off my goddamn channel. You're booted. At least you get out. How dare you not watch it? How dare you show up unprepared? How dare you did not do your goddamn homework? I'm offended. Who else is offended? If you're offended against something, say something, please, in the comments. Say something. Anyway, I think that day affected him more than anybody, than anything else. Nobody knew how much that affected him. So, I think it affected him to the point that he didn't know where his life was going. All right. Me 4? What do you mean me 4? What do you mean me 2? So me 2, you haven't watched it or you're offended? I'm trying to figure out which one you're talking about, King. You gotta get more specific here. Like, I don't read messages decoded like that, buddy. I wasn't in the military like you did. So with the whole where was I going now? Man, my brain just took a shit on me. So that day affected his whole life. We saw that in the show. It went in at the damn well spot. Okay. Me too offended. Okay, yeah, good. So at least somebody else is offended. Now, Alicia, what do you have to say about for yourself? You just offended at least half my audience. All 7 people watching are very offended now. What are you going to say about it yourself now, young lady? So, where was I going with this now? My brain just took a shit. Okay, let's see what she says now, because now I'm getting I'm going to get her an ass. I did hear it. I did hear it was good. Excuse me. So, I guess I will go watch it. LOL. Sorry, guys. Sorry is not good enough this time. You are booted. That's it. Sorry. How are you going to be a part of this conversation if you're just going to say sorry, yada, yada, me? No. Anybody who's a fan of the channel knows how much of a Karate Kid fan I am. So, if you know me personally, and you do, you're so in hot water. You're in lava. Not even hot water. Lava. Anyway, let's get back to the conversation. So, Johnny, there was a lot of story left over, like I said. I think they had to tell Johnny's side of it because that day affected his whole life. And in his head, that fucked him up. And obviously he dealt with other demons on top of what he was dealing with. And so, hang on a second. I'm gonna read this comment really fast. It's such a good show. I offended too. Oh, you're just offended at almost everybody tonight. Shit. All right, guys, go at it. She's all yours. I'm leaving this up to you guys. And she replies, I do know, I do know you are so harsh. I'm not harsh. I take that offensive. I am being very critical. That's two different things. Harsh and critical is two different things. So I'm gonna be now even harsher if you want to play that game. So I was saying, so what was I saying now? What was I at? So it was a lot. So like you saw in the, I think it was the third episode or first a couple episodes when he's driving, literally drunk. Obviously, I don't recommend that. He was still obsessed with his girlfriend. He hasn't let that go, and that was one of the problems, I think, when Allie didn't give him a second chance. I think he fell in love with her so hard that he couldn't stop thinking about her. And it was such a heartbreak for him that he couldn't let it go. Obviously didn't get it right, help and everything. Listen, guys, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. Everybody, has their heartaches and all that stuff, but you need to get, if you're hanged up on that woman, it's nothing wrong getting some help. But obviously back then, it wasn't known to get help. So he would, over years and years and years, he didn't let it go. He was hanged up, and he's still hanged up. He actually, if you guys remember on one episode, he actually went out with her again. It was like a normal date, nothing crazy, nothing really crazy. It was like, I think with dinner or something like that. And I think, if I remember correctly, he actually kissed her or something like that. It wasn't the same. He realized like he was hanged up on no reason. But when he bumped into Russell years later, he realized, holy shit, this guy, that one day made him all this money. He thinks that one day was everything. He thinks if I won that tournament, my life would have been differently, and he would have been like. And reality, that wasn't a factor. That was never the factor. Him winning that tournament like that. Excuse me. I don't think it was that. I think it was other things in the middle. And I think we're thinking of like, how was he raised? His childhood wasn't good. They flash back that during the show, which he didn't have a great childhood. I think that was more the factor. His stepfather would treat him like shit. His mother was not the greatest. So I think that was the bigger factor than him losing that tournament. So then he got the idea of opening Cobra Kai, and that was a lot of pushback from Danny. And that's another question: why was so much pushback? Oh, because like, dude, that's not the same karate school anymore. It's two different people running it. He was harsh on his students, but be honest with you, like if you're training to defend yourself, you gotta be a little harsh with the students. You cannot just let them like walk all over the place. You gotta be harsh. So the question I have for everybody out there, and I have watched some videos and did some research over the years, how did the original cast thought about it? They were excited as hell to come back. They were, I know not everybody, but the people who did come back was crazy. I know Danny was like, he was questionable from what I heard, but when they actually pitched it to him, and he was like, "Okay, I like where this is going," and they've been meaning to make another one for years, but they were holding off till the right script came around. I think I'm pretty sure Routes. I'm not sure, was only an actor. Danny, William is actor, same thing. It was kind of sad not seeing our beloved, Mr. Miyagi, because he has already passed. But they talked about him through the whole show, even till the last season. And I think the season's not done. I'm not mistaken. There's only been two parts of it. I'm just going down the list right now. I don't see anybody that is in here that is there's only except one person that was a producer and a director, but most of them are just straight up actors. Someone too. The guy who played Thomas Lane Glenfield, who plays Silver, he's actually a writer. I didn't know that, and he's incredible. When he first came back, the first scene with his long hair and everything, I did not recognize him at first. I'm like, well, who the hell is this guy? Fun fact, if I can find, here it is actually the referent Pat E. Johnson. Pat E. Johnson is actually was the he was not only the ref, he was actually a choreographer who actually did all the fighting scenes for the show and the movies. He was the number one karate guy to go to at the time. So they were excited, but they waited and waited for the right script. They were talking about doing Karate Kid 4 and all this stuff. And when they thought the series was going to get rebooted with Will Smith's version. Excuse me, I think Will Smith wrote it actually. Now that I think about it, but that's not the point. The point is they thought that was going to be the reboot, and that's how they're going to bring it back. That never happened, of course. They've been sitting on this for years and years and years. I've been hearing this rumor since I was a kid. But when this actually came to reality, I'm like, oh, that is amazing. I just looked this up really fast. I was looking up on Reddit. It says how long did the Karate Kid train before the tournament? A lot of shorts that is the opportunity I beat. Okay, and most of them are saying is 2 to 3 months. If that is, let's say that is true, 2 to 3 months, there is no way in fucking hell you should have been in a black belt division. It takes you half a lifetime to be in that division. It takes, it does that part really irks me a little bit as a karate guy. What was I? Okay, so they waited and waited and waited. Let's see what was So the what is the challenge that characters be to come back? There were a lot of challenges because some of them did not come back. I know one of them said they said he was still in jail. The one that I felt really bad for, to be straight up with you guys, it was the guy who played Tom, Rob Grandson. I can't pronounce it. When the show aired, I don't know what he died from, but they showed him literally dying in the show. A week or two later, he ended up passing away, and that caught me off guard. I mean, that hit me home for me because I'm like, whoa, that's kind of creepy. They literally see him put him in a body bag in the show, and everything. Like, I don't know if I could ever do that personally in real life. Like, if somebody's zipping me up, like I'll be having claustrophobia as shit. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's not my cup of tea, to be honest with you. That's I got Kim kudos when he's done that. Like, he has some balls to do that. Had a lot of balls to do that. What was that? So yeah, I think they had a lot of challenges to bring a lot of people back because, how are they gonna bring each one back after all these years? Okay, you had one, Johnny and Lewis. We knew how they're gonna bring them back. They brought their families into it. Okay, cool. Then John Kreese. That's what Johnny's bring him back, and it was like, I like how they bring him back. Like, this no man Roman, and he said again, they're using the same thing. The karate, when the school shut down, that day it destroyed my life, yada yada. Was it really that? That is the question. Um, Dutch, Dutch did a small scene in bike riding, and that's it. Now, when uh, trying to think if he was in it or not. The guy who played Bobby, I don't remember if he was in it or not. I think Jimmy played the priest. I'm not mistaken. I can't remember all the names off my head right now because they only on 1 or 2 seasons. That's it. But what I like they did different this time is John, Danny and John were going at it, boom, 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 whatever, right? But what I did like about it, they involved their kids in it. Now they're passing their vengeance to the kids, and they didn't realize they were doing that. They were like, oh, "Holy shit! Hang on a second here." His wife in on the show, it says that how long this cry thing is going to continue is getting out of hand. Now our kids are getting affected, and it was getting out of hand. I would definitely give him that. So hang on a second, I want to double check who any of those old actors are here if I can find it because I know they did some of them. Yeah, I don't see them on this list. I know they're in it, but I don't see on this one. So, but here's where it gets tricky. How did they had to write the right script to find them? But what I liked also, every season somebody else is coming back. So first we had Danny and Johnny. Okay, then a couple of seasons down the road, it was Silver coming back. Okay, cool. I think that maybe that's it. Then they threw a big one on me, and like I never expected him to come on. Sojo. When Soju came in, I'm going, holy shit! And he's the true Okinawa guy. He was training. He's continued training. He lost, his respect, his honor. He said after that night, and he never got it back. They had a little match, but nothing serious. Then you had his Okinawa girlfriend show up, her head up. Let me see if I find her asses on here. Uni, yeah, she showed up like for episode 2, and that was, and the way they brought it was like ironic because she got into the car business like he did. They didn't know that. And next thing you know, like I'm here for business, yada yada. I'm like, oh, we need to have a conversation. I'm like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Personal favors do come back. Hey, he worked when he's good. That one that blew my mind off, that Mike Bars. Okay, I know I said Shoujo blew my mind, but Mike Bars blew my mind even more. Because Shoujo was like under a bad trainer, cockiness, whatever, different country. Okay, let's put that away for a minute. But Bars was the one that he knew he was getting himself into. He was getting paid for it. I'm not sure how old was he when he was actually doing the act. I'm actually going to look it up. Oh, here it is. Getting the right spelling would be nice. He was 23 in the movie, so that means he knew better. He knew 100% better. And second question I'm gonna ask: what the fuck is a 23-year-old fighting in a fucking teenage division? I don't think he was. Now I'm gonna how old was here. Now I'm puzzling. This is what I like because Danny Denny was, I think, a minor actually. Still, when he fought that Mike Bars in Karate Kid 3. He was 18, so he just became an adult technically. So okay, I'll give him that. But when Mike Bars show up, I never thought Mike Bars and him were cool like that. I'm like when he's like, oh Danny, I'm like he was like sitting down and having a drink. Like I guess some point from when 3 ended and the show started and past the show, like a couple seasons later, they were like cool. They were like best friends having beers every night. They were sitting down and bullshitting, and we're like, oh, the fuck? And that threw me off. We're like, okay, I guess it is a dream bearing a hatchet. But because of Danny, a lot of shit came back and bit him in the ass. I'm starting to think Danny carries this bad voodoo around him. Like, wherever he goes, shit gets fucked up. Literally, like, what the fuck? It was like, dude, seriously? Like, first it was the freaking, you went after, Johnny and his crew got fucked up with Keys, Sensei Keys. Then next minute, all this shit. But the one part I did not expect him, Danny and Johnny actually working on the same fucking team. But let's go back a little bit further before that. I can't remember what season it was when that big fight happened in the school. That blew my mind. It was one of the best karate fights scenes I ever seen. A lot of fiction about it, but it was one of my favorite scenes. A lot of antibiotics, jumping in the air, kind of things. Like, not reality, but I'll give him credit. It was good. You gotta give him credit when it's due. That fighting scene was one of the best. And when, what's her fucking name now? Can't remember the character's name now. Too many of these guys to remember. Let's go back here for a minute here. When Troy, whatever her name is, Troy and Sam were fighting, she used the spikes from her necklace, and it actually stabbed her. Like, holy shit! And she started the whole fight. But again, she does have a lot of trauma, a lot of anger built up in her. So you gotta cut her slack when it's due, obviously. And oh man. Then you have Miguel and Robbie going at it too. Those two was a good fight. I don't care what anybody says. Those two was a phenomenal fight. I will give it Robbie went too far. He should have stopped it before he kicked him off the freaking, I think, third level, whatever it was. When he kicked him off, oh my god, that was like, you went too far, dude. You went way too fucking far at that point. You should have backed off and ended there. If he was trained correctly, he would have known better. That's why that was a problem. But again, when the way Johnny was training, no mercy. And he was starting to learn, okay, this is not the way. Let's do this things different this time. And that was a big thing too. So that is my issue with some of this stuff. Some of this stuff is not 100% reality. Listen, I don't care how bad a teacher you are. The first thing you're going to teach any karate student is, listen, dude, we're not going to that level. You got stand you down. Stand ground. We're not here to fuck people up. We're not going to put them in a hospital. We're here to actually train. And that's the thing. I think that's where the difference is. That the training is different versus one dojo different. Excuse me. So, I think fighting the way they were fighting was a good fight. Obviously, you want to train to, survive. But, come on now. Kick him off the second storage, that was too far. But, also, Robbie had a lot of problems going on, a lot of anger and all that stuff. I mean, his father wasn't there. His father wasn't in his life. whatever issue his wife was him doing, whatever. Found out later his wife was a big, drug addict. Again, that is 100% Johnny's fault, not the school and like that. It was 100% Johnny's fault because Johnny should have known better. Johnny should have walked away from that before he got married and locked her up. Simple. You can't blame Danny for that. He should have walked away, and he didn't. That's his fault. Nobody else's fault but his. So I don't want to hear that bullshit. Oh, well, Johnny, he went through it. Like, no, he did it to himself, dude. Simple as that. He did it to himself. I want to hear it. So, all right, let's see where we're at here with the questions. Different senseis. That is one of the biggest questions. How did two different senseis work? Difference, and they had two different styles. Let's be honest. They're two different. One is Korean, I believe. Yeah, Korean. One is Japanese style. That is one way. The train is completely different. Now towards let me see if I can get. Actually, let me get my phone. It'll be easier. Of the Netflix. Let's see what season there are because I can't remember. To be honest with you guys. What is it? Season 6. Okay. Good. They only have released 5 right now, and I assume they're gonna release more because it's not even end. So from season 1 all the way to season 6, it's a huge difference because, again, different styles. Now they're slowly emerging together. It is such thing you have two different styles, training together, and I believe that personally too. Now, where it's kind of being like butting heads is a power struggle is, and I quote, "It's who is in charge." One day is Sergio, then is Johnny. Johnny's he's getting pushed out, yada yada. And he has a good point there. He really does have a good point. He's getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And he's getting pushed to extremes. Too extreme sometimes. So, where is this going to lead up to? The question is. Let's see where we're at. One thing I do like about where the show is right now is they already said 6 seasons will be it. I think that's a good way to end of season. When it goes to like 6, 8 and over, I think 6 to 8 is a sweet spot for a show to have. Anything over 8 seasons, no, we're good. You should end it right there. It's too much. It's way too much, and I think it kills the magic from it. To the point, like, you don't even want to watch at that point. It just, yeah, I don't think so. I think it should end between 6 and 8, and I think 6 is a sweet spot. They said they didn't want to go over 6 seasons when they, sold the rights to Netflix. They said it a while back. 6 seasons. The writer said 6 seasons. That's it. Nothing more. I know they had a hiccup where the show was going to end up, but I'm happy where it did end up. So 6 seasons, I think, is good. So let's get back to the questions really fast. He's supposed to be joining us very soon too. He's coming up to his minute or two. He should be on with us. Where are we? So let's talk about this new twist now. They have the new tournament. God damn it, what the new one is called? Let me look it up because I don't remember. Kate Kai, something like that. Alright, let's see what I got. The second ticket. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is actually a real thing. I'm gonna look it up right now. I think it's on invite only. Also, like they have it a show. I've heard something similar like that happening. Uh, so it says here the history mentioned by the chapter has no balance in based in real life. Through there are martial arts competing means the opening and the world level. The Sekiteke is a fiction event. I've heard something similar. Tournaments, not this specific name. That there are some correct terms back in the day, not anymore. I don't think it's this thing anymore. That you were only invited, you know, you by invite only you do the tournament. It's like one of the best tournaments in the world, kind of thing. And I think it was a good one. I always enjoyed it. Something like that. I never was invited personally because I was not that damn good. But when I hear stuff like that, is that I'm very impressed when I hear stuff like that. It's like if you get to that level, kudos. I gotta give you credit to anybody who you are, because when you get to that point, that is you're on a different level. You're on a different level, competing, nowhere near as good as anybody else you think you can be. So, but that tournament twist, I like it because it's a good, very good way to end a story. Why, like let's end it like the way it started, with a cryo tournament. All three movies ended with, actually 2 out of 3, I should say. It's ended with a cry, and all of them ended with a fight. Okay, at least agree on that. So why not let's end it with a fight? But the twist, again, there's always going to be a twist in this stuff. You know that. Obviously Troy's mother passed in a show, of course, not in real life. And they looked at, listen, you're not ready to go compete on this. No way. You're not healthy enough. You're not mentally ready. It is too much. Now she needs more than ever. This is where Johnny and Danny are butting heads again. Like, let her fight. Let her get this out of herself. And in a way, I'm kind of on Johnny's side. In a way, I am on Danny's too, but I'm more on Johnny's. Like, maybe get a W in that tournament. If she wins, would be the best thing for her, and get it out of her system. Clean the slate. Maybe doing one last thing to make her mom happy or proud of her, whatever the case is. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's where Danny's pushing back. Like, no, she needs to chill here. But what happens? You pushed her away too far, to the point that she went on the other side again, back to Kreese. As always. All right, let's get this guy in here. What is going on, my brother? How are you tonight?
I am well. I am well.
A little traveling today, I see.
Yeah, I had to have the date night with the missus, but we had to do a stop in Philly. Had some family down there. They just had moved in, so we told them we'd stop by. We were about an hour delayed in getting there, and so that's why I texted you. I said, yeah, I'm probably going to be held up a little bit before I got on tonight.
That's cool. But I get it. You have a life, dude. This is not your life.
Yeah. I must say that was my wife's first formal introduction to you, because we would listen to your show the whole time we were coming back. So when you said, "Get the F off my channel," she looks at me like, "Who? This is who you host the show with?" So I didn't. I should have warned her ahead of time. I should have gave her the all the stuff. It's like, okay, you made the. Peter, he's a good guy, but yes, he's definitely
Big bold.
very effusive in the language arts there. So but
Well,
the look on her face was like priceless when she was like,
if Mrs. B watching that, I do apologize on behalf of your husband, not on my behalf, on your husband's behalf. I'm not warning you. I
"Oh
am
my
not that
gosh."
bad. I am very respectful when you meet in person, but when I do my show, I'm very vocal. I'm very straightforward.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah.
No,
But again,
so-
I think that dynamic. I think that's what makes it. Again, we're like Crockett and Tubbs. You know what I mean?
oh God, yeah,
We're
that's
so
what makes us.
we're
That's
so
what
opposite of each other.
yeah, I think that's what makes it so good for us. Like
Exactly.
yin and yang. You're the yin, I'm the yang.
Absolutely.
It's funny we say that because we are talking about Karate Kid. You know the
Mm-hmm.
Cobra Kai show. Have you watched any of it? Actually, first question.
Well, again, like I said, just to kind of do a recap. So obviously, I've watched all the Karate Kid movies. I've also watched 3 seasons, maybe 4 actually, of because when I dropped off is when Silver kind of made his way back into the mix. Then that's when I got busy and I wasn't able to get back to it. But I caught everything up to that point. And again, I think I binge watched probably those 4 seasons in a week and a half. So I was really into it. But then I got caught up with other stuff and whatnot. And I just haven't been able to get back to it as of yet. But I enjoyed every minute of it, but probably for different reasons. In that, certainly because of the nostalgia and the fact that they were going back to it and fleshing out some of the characters. Because some of the folks you meet, just like they're just mean for no reason. But even the fact that they went back and they told Kreese's story, John Kreese, and just like
I actually like that a lot.
who he was as a person. It still doesn't, he's still a villain in the series. But I think the fact that you can go back which you can't do in a movie, the fact that you kind of go back and tell the stories of these individual characters and what was motivating them at the time. So they did that with all the women. They did it with the Chosen from the second movie. So they went back and they definitely sort of, I thought, tied some nice bows on all of these characters to kind of give them more of a fleshed out perspective, and that I certainly liked. And so I overall, like I said, I've enjoyed it. But certainly to your earlier segments on the movies themselves, I think basically after 2, I think the series just went downhill from there.
I don't think 3 was a horrible movie. It was an okay movie. I think it was a decent movie overall for what it was. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of expectation on sequels. The next Karate Kid, it was nowhere near.
Now that I enjoyed it. I remember I took my whole family to that movie, and because obviously my kids, they thought Jaden Smith was cute at the time. So
I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the next with the woman, with the girl.
Oh yeah, that one I wasn't. It was. The bowling scene with the monks wishing the ball for striking. I mean, they just went left with that.
They jumped off the cliff on that one. Like,
they did. It's like, okay, Shaolin monks can manipulate bowling balls to make strikes with. I mean, it's like, no, y'all going too far with that.
They did Assassin's Creed jump, like a leap of faith, but they jumped in the fire pit and they got burned on that one. But the one I actually did like I said, you heard what I said, is with the Jackie Chan one. Honestly,
very different.
Very good. People hated
it. Was we really enjoyed that one a lot.
Like it's funny because you guys know I talk about my mom a lot. She's been on the show too, or me and Sean Paul on Sunday. My mom's favorite Karate Kid movie. It's one of them. That's one of her favorite ones.
Yeah, it's very well done.
Yeah. So we got a comment from Trey. Grooming. You look like
an 18-year-old without the.
Fuck you.
So what was the motivation? Obviously, I know you go through these phases, and there's always a reason for some. So was this like a charity giveaway again, or what was what's that? You lost the bet.
Yes, with the woman.
So
she go, and my mother was part of that bet too. So I was 2 against 1 here, and I go, we haven't seen you shaved in 5 years, so I'm like, no. Like, and I was thinking about doing a reboot anyway because I just wanted to do something fresh.
Right.
Because I want to grow it back out for the winter again, like I usually do. I go, all right. I guess I have to go shave. And like, dude, I'm not joking. I already broke out all over my face. Like, you can't see where the stubble is right now, but I break out instantly. And literally,
Yeah.
after I put the aftershave on, I'll go, I really feel it. And I'm literally, they looked at me and I go, yep, you broke out again. Well, yeah, thanks for rubbing it in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
look
for
like I'm
sure.
like 5 years old again. 3 years.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So,
So,
so what's your, so okay, you see some of the Cry Kids. So from what you remember and what you've seen, let me ask you first before we get into that. What is your best memory of any of the shows, of any of the movies? What is your favorite memory?
well, I think that just the first movie, I think it was fresh in its, it was fresh in its approach. It had elements of rock because the guy who did it, John Avildsen, he worked with Rocky on the Rocky series with Stallone, so it definitely had a lot of that sensibility to it. I liked the approach to the training. I mean, he didn't know what he was doing, so with the wax on, wax off, or whatnot, it's like it was like I was kind of with the audience. It's like, what is he doing? Why is he having to paint the fences and paint the house and all this kind of stuff? Like, where was all this going? And then that sequence where he kind of shows him what he was working on throughout. It caught you. It's like, oh, okay, that's what he's doing. So I just thought the build up to that I thought was brilliant. And but I think you can only pull that off only so much. So I don't think it worked in the subsequent films because you kind of knew, okay, there's something behind this. So it's like, once he hit it for so long and then he let it go, you knew they couldn't keep going back to that well over and over again because we were all in on it. But the first time it caught you by surprise, it really did. And but I just like the relationship that he built, certainly with Daniel. When he gives him the car to take Allie to the on the date and everything. I thought they really built a very strong bond. And so I thought the it's still in my top 5 all time martial arts films. But it has the least martial arts in it. But nevertheless, it's still, yeah.
Here's where my issue started to roll up when the show came out and everything, and I had questioned. This is one of the questions I had. Like, you have Danny who's training for 2 to 3 months, and I looked this up earlier. I don't know if you heard me say that when you were driving.
Yep.
2 or 3 months they're saying, and I read it. So, but you have Johnny who trained half his life and he lost that tournament. I can't believe that personally.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I think the philosophy that they try to convey, I think in all the films, quite frankly, like all the guys that Daniel beat, they all thought they were going to beat him. So I think what the takeaway was, if you overestimate or underestimate your opponent, then anybody can slip up at any time. So these guys, I thought, left caution to the wind and said, this guy's not very good. I'm just going to go and take him out. So I think that's one aspect. The second aspect of it is, again, Miyagi had a totally defensive style. Mm-hmm. And so, again, if you're going to have a guy who's going to be hyper aggressive, then I think, certainly that gave Daniel a lot more opportunities to counter. Now, again, I'm not as fluent in the martial arts as you are or Black David or a lot of the other guys.
What's that? Okinawa Shunryu and
right.
Shunryu, similar styles, just from different village. That's one of the difference. Mm-hmm. It's like saying from, your city versus the next city over. Like, right. Difference. So there are both, not both, let's say, that Okinawa style is very self-defense based. It's an offense, not defense. Defense, right. Not offense. I did it backwards. Mm. So it is very defense system. Like, you can somebody come in like straight rolling, like Johnny did. He came flying at him. And he defended him. Like, anything can happen in a martial arts tournament.
Yeah, but everybody did, because again, in the first movie, a lot of the guys he fought were Cobra Kai guys.
Yeah,
and they already knew they said, "Oh, Danny, he's weak. He's a whatever." You had Kreese saying, just go and just take him out or whatever. So I think everybody, with the exception of the guy before who damaged his leg, he was the only one who was like, had some kind of respect, because he didn't want to do the illegal move, but I think everybody just thought that the guy's a pushover, and I think again, when you abandon defense for offense, when you just go reckless, anybody can get caught. I mean, we've seen in certainly professional fights, professional boxers get knocked out because you're so aggressive. You think you're just going to take the guy out, and you get caught with a counter shot, and that was enough to take you out. So I think that was actually what it was. Now again, how often does that work out in real life? It doesn't. It doesn't happen very often. But again, especially when you talk about a contact sport, anybody can kind of get caught at any time, and I think that's what they were going with, at least with the first one. Now the other two, I couldn't get with as much because I think you said it earlier. I think Chosen was a much better fighter. He's basically training his whole life under his uncle, and so I thought he came from a very different place. I thought the whole thing with Daniel breaking the ice in the bar and whatnot. I mean, certainly he had an advanced level because they were still kind of in high school or he just graduated high school at the time, and so again, how much he was able to learn to where he was doing that kind of activity to fight Chosen. I thought that was a bit much. And then the third fight,
believe it or not, breaking wood, stand-up blocks, ice is not that hard. You just need the right technique. He can learn that in a very even beginning level. That's the first thing we teach.
Yeah, I mean that was but I thought the second fight was a little less believable. The third fight, I thought he was overmatched by that guy. He could beat him anytime he wanted to, but again, he got cocky again. He was fouling him. He was like, oh my gosh, whatever. And he got, like you said, he got beat with the kata, thinking he was just going to crush him. And he just left himself vulnerable to that flip to end it. So to me, it was a very unsatisfying tournament. It was an unsatisfied fight because he was the last year's champion. He only had to fight the final fight. He only had to fight the winner of his opponent who won all the other rounds, which I thought was a bad rule. Why is it? I mean, as a fighter, would I even want that? Because I just come in cold against the best guy who I might not have fought before, or whatever. How warm can you be unless you actually have a couple matches under your belt before you fight the main guy?
In real life, no, that would never happen.
Right. So that was just
you always start from the ground down.
Exactly.
Fight everybody, and you work yourself up. In every karate tournament I ever been into, from highest karate tournament to the lowest.
Right. So I mean that in and of itself, I thought was just bad. And to your point, it's not realistic. But again, the guy, he was beating John. He hit out. He hit Daniel anytime he wanted. But even then, he wasn't the most skilled. I still think out of all three fighters, I don't think that the guy in the third movie, I didn't think he was that. Yeah, I didn't think he was that skilled. I thought Chosen and William Zapp, who actually he was like Daniel. He didn't Ralph Macchio. He didn't know karate either.
Yeah,
before the movie, but I thought what he showed in the series, certainly in the first movie, I thought he came off as very credible for a person who never really studied martial arts before the film. So I gave him a lot of credit in making the fights believable. And when they put him in, remember the fight before then, they actually put him in with a guy who was a karate guy. I forget the guy's name. I think he's like Hawaiian or something like that. But that guy was very believable. He was beating everybody with karate. I mean, you saw his spinning kicks. He was taking out all these guys with kicks and everything. So again, the guy seemed like he was very legit. From what I understand, in real life, that guy was a very legit martial artist. And I thought that the fact that William Zabka was able to show to hang with him and obviously in the movie beat him, I thought that was a great job of choreography by I think this guy's Bob I think Johnson is I think it's the fight choreographer for
it was actually one of the refs, believe it or not.
He was the ref in the movie. He was the ref in the movie Pat Johnson. Pat Johnson. And I thought he did a great.
The main ref who was calling the shots in the movies.
Yeah, actually, just also a little factoid. Pat Johnson was also in Enter the Dragon, He was one of the heavies that came after John Saxon's character on the golf course. So he was like, okay, you owe us 50 grand, Roper. He was that guy. That was Pat Johnson. So found that out.
He was the number one choreographer everybody went to it back in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah.
He was the guy to go to. And eventually, stepped down. Somebody else went in his place. But
right.
He was the guy. Not always the guy, but that's the guy that everybody went after because of how good he was.
Yeah, no, I thought, I thought what he did with Zabka and the fact, but I think the fact that they had a legit karate guy or martial arts guy in there, Vidal, I think was the guy's name, at least in the movie, his name was Vidal. And I thought having him in there gave credibility, I think, to the entire tournament, having just that one guy in there, because his moves, you could tell, I mean, the guy, he studied something, his kicking technique. I don't know if he's a Taekwondo guy or whatever his style was.
Which one was this again?
This is in the first film. The guy Vidal, who Johnny beat in the semifinals before the finals. He came in with those spinning kicks and whatnot, and yeah.
That's why I have a hard time believing. I understand like anything can happen in a karate tournament. I get that. I'm not disagreeing. Anything can happen in a fight, but that kick, it was in a real tournament. That snap kick, it was a legal shot to the face. Number one, let's be straight here. And but number two, we see that coming. The way he set himself up, and he has you knew he was going for a jump kick.
Yeah.
You knew he was going for a jump kick or first kick or whatever kick you want to call it.
Right.
You knew he was going for that. So that's one. The second one, when he fought, Okinawa Richo, or whatever his name is, again, it's a little far-fetched for me because he trained for so many years. He was the number one student on the island.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they were training the military out there. That dojo, they had all the military guys going to him. Yeah. So, yes.
Remember Elvis? That's how he learned martial arts when he was deployed overseas.
Yeah.
And then he came back and continued training. Then, Mike Bars, again, a professional fighter. Keyword, in the movie, technically he was 23 when, Danny, who was 18. Again, he was I know you don't see a lot of his moves, but he actually later on, he comes back. A few seasons later in Cobra Kai, he actually shows some decent moves, believe it or not.
Yeah, by the time I stopped watching, I didn't know if they brought him back. I didn't know, like I said, if they brought Vidal back. Like I said, I definitely need to get caught up on it.
Everybody back pretty much. The only person they have not brought anything back was from the next Karate Kid, and the rumor is she might come show her face towards the end of the season, kind of like, hey, you guys won, here's a tournament, kind of thing. And this is only a rumor, and what it says cast-wise as the 2025 Karate Kid movie is going to be with Danny, Johnny, and Jackie Chan, all three senseis. And the other ones too. That's only a rumor right now. It's not true.
Yeah. Well, I think that certainly. I think one thing with the Cobra Kai, or with the series had demonstrated is that one, again, the fan base certainly for the older movies. I think those guys still had a lot of affinity for the films. I think that drove a lot of the viewership. Was that the fact that they expanded the characters out? So again, you fleshed them out a bit more. I think that also had a lot to do with it, and apparently they attracted a new audience as well. Again, with the younger characters and the storylines there. So they were able to. This is one of the few series that I've seen where you've been able to appeal to multiple generations of people, 40 years of generations. And so again, there's something for the old heads like myself. There's something for the younger people, with the younger characters. So I think they've done a great job of just putting that together. And you asked the question earlier about who's the villain in Cobra Kai. Is it Johnny or is it Daniel? I don't know if villain or victim, quite frankly, is. I think that's where they're going. I think back in the day, I think a lot of the films they had like a binary formula, antagonist and protagonist. But I think where they're going with this here, which I think a lot of people are appreciating, is that everybody has a story. And when you tell the story, so it's almost like a gray area show to an extent, because when you allow people to tell their stories about where they are, it's not so black and white anymore. It's not that, okay, you're a bad guy and you're a good guy. It's just that, look, we both been through some things that forced us to do things in a certain way, and if our roles were reversed, we might have turned out the same people. So again, it's kind of, it gets harder to hate somebody if you can start looking at the world through their eyes and their shoes. And I think that what the series did, certainly with Johnny, I think they certainly redeemed Johnny in a lot of ways. Because again, he did 100%. Come out as this preppy kid, and you find out he was basically that money came from his stepdad, who he never had a good relationship or whatever, but he married his mom, and that went sour and all that kind of stuff. So he was never even part of that preppy lifestyle, but a lot of it was projection in terms of, him trying to live up to that image of being this SoCal kid from this preppy life. And so really, and plus also his relationship with Kreese was more the dad to him than certainly his original dad, his birth dad, and let alone his stepdad. So that's also, I think, what drove that relationship as well. So I think that, that's part of, that's a harder enterprise for a lot of human beings to undergo, because we would just sort of say, oh, this guy's a jerk, this guy's no good or whatever. And you let people tell their stories or whatnot. Now, again, it doesn't justify actions and it doesn't justify everything that they do, but it gives you a perspective that allows you, to humanize them, and then maybe you can work out something like what they tried to do with him and Daniel in the series.
Yeah, I stick back to my original comment. It was a lot more to say on a story. It wasn't ending on 3. For years and years, we're hearing about chapter 4 or part 4 or whatever you want to call it. Now, before Karate Kid, it was supposed to come. It never came because they couldn't find the right script. Even the writer said, even the actors said, actually, they didn't want to sign up or greenlight another movie. It wasn't a right book. I mean, the right, So what happened in the next Karate Kid? That was a flunk. That's why now them guys wanted to be in it.
Right.
So when they found this script, like, oh, this is actually fucking good. I'm like, that's why the said they're on board. Let's do it. Obviously, YouTube didn't know which way the direction it wanted to go with their, with their product. That's why they ended up selling to Netflix, and that's fine. That's different. That's not part of the show. But seeing Johnny, thinking, listen, that one kick destroyed his life. I don't think that destroyed his life. I think he made bad choices in life.
No, I think he was already somewhat on a spiral. Like I said, when he fleshed out, what was going on with his dad and whatnot, that stuff wouldn't have changed. If he would have won if he did win the all-around karate tournament there, that relationship with his stepdad still would have been poor, still would have been on the outs, but certainly it had a grave effect, I think, on Cobra Kai, which I think is obviously in the subsequent, Kreese loses all the students and whatnot, and everybody thinks he's, and plus he loses to Miyagi in the parking lot. So a lot of that stuff was, certainly detrimental for Cobra Kai. But I don't know if things would have necessarily changed personally for Johnny. He never got Allie back. I mean, she wasn't going back to him, and so it was the sort of thing that But that's oftentimes what a lot of people decide that you don't see. Which for a lot of people, they make the decision like, I'm not just gonna even the person who's bullying you. They say oftentimes those are the persons they're being bullied somewhere else, whether it be bullied at home or, parents, dad, whatever it is. And a lot of that perspective you don't get until you're older. Like I said, it doesn't change the fact that you were affected by their bullying. But again, bullies oftentimes, that's a projection oftentimes to protect themselves. But that's a perspective that, sometimes you don't get into your 40s and 50s before you understand that. But then once you do, then I think what it also does is allow you to get let go of some of the businesses that you had. It's like, man, that guy had it rough. And now you understand it, and, you can even learn to forgive in a lot of respects. I think that's certainly a higher level of understanding. That's a higher level of spirituality when you don't hold grudges. Again, a lot of that comes from seeing the other perspective of a person. So I think the series is fleshing that out.
If you remember the first season, he did hold a grudge. He did never let it go. Johnny was the bad guy. He always thought that. He never changed that about him, the way he looked at him. And even Johnny, same thing. He said, this, you're my enemy, no matter what. And over time, they actually, closed the. They
closed it. Now, again, by the time I left, obviously they combined, I guess, the two Johnny students and Daniels to go up against Cobra Kai or whatever. And that's, like I said, that's kind of really where I left it. But again, and I don't know if they became, bromancing or whatever, but
They're
but
not best friends, but they're on a better chapter. If that makes sense.
yeah,
Good
and I think the
friends.
respect is certainly built up. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's definitely been, but
But
that's
also, Johnny also feels now, and I don't want to spoil too much for you. Danny's stepping over his toes because there are three senseis running one school. It's kind of hard. Actually, four senseis with Mike now. So it's kind of they're all butting heads. Who's going to run? How they're going to run? How they're going to do that? Because he was Johnny knows one style, and it's not a bad style. Korea style is not a bad style. And then you have the other style that is Okinawa, and that's a great style too in itself. So one is the yin and yang kind of thing now is going on. So I don't want to say too much spoil for you. That's the thing. I'm trying to hold back a
no,
little
but
bit.
I got a sense where it was going. But what I want to ask you, given that you do have a martial arts background,
Mm-hmm.
the philosophy, because from what I get from you, just from talking about your martial arts experience, it seems like you're more certainly on the way you've been taught has been definitely more of a Cobra Kai type of style or philosophy, more so than a purely defensive type of. Because it's not only just with the martial arts, but it's also with the lifestyle, with the beliefs that you have. I mean, your sensei was more like, okay, yeah, you don't start any beef, but if someone comes in your face, you take them out. I mean, kind of thing. Whereas I think the Miyagi style of doing things is, walk away from it. Even if the guy says something to you or whatever, hey, walk away. It's not worth it or whatever. But in the way you were raised in the art, from what you told me in the past, if somebody wants to get in your face, it's like, look, let's do this right now. So it's a different mindset
I'm not
as
gonna
much as
say
it
I
is
agree 100%.
a way of fighting.
I'm not gonna say 100%. I agree. I'm gonna be yes and no on that. Yes, it is what you're saying. Your partial right is more like a Cobra Kai, but it was also a part of the other part. You had to. I haven't talked about it too much. He was a little bit like a Miyagi too, like not as his training methods. When he's then have a conversation with you, I'm like, listen, like it is you need to find your balance sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like he never said those words. He would say, like, "Dude, shut the fuck out." Seriously, it's not that serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but he was more a hard ass teacher versus a soft teacher. Like, Mr. Miyagi was more a softer teacher, I would say. So versus like if he would spar with you. He would wrap his hand like everybody else and spar with us. So Mr. Miyagi wouldn't do that kind of thing.
Well, he sparred him in two. When they were in Okinawa, they would spar. They would spar in the mornings or whatnot. I mean, he was doing some drill, at least some sort of
It
drill
was
work with them.
drills, not real sparring. I won't say that
Okay.
sparring. That would be more drills.
Mm.
Drills he would do, like So Master Ray was more, I would say, yes, more a Cobra Kai kind of style, but it was more a. I have a hard time saying
But
Cobra
it was
Kai
more like
because
aggressive. Like again, in the fight quickly, right?
oh god,
Disable, break the bone,
oh,
bust the
100%.
balls. What I'm saying? It
100%,
wasn't. Yeah.
that's 100% yes. You're 100%. I agree with you.
Yeah.
100% what you're saying there. So the reason I have a hard time like 100% agreeing to the T is because that is an Okinawa style Cobra Kai, and I keep going to that, and that's where my mind says go. Oh, he's an Okinawa style. Asian style,
Mm.
Taekwondo Sundu versus karate. Is Okinawa Shonryu, Okinawa Sundu, so on.
Right.
So I think that's where my mind says like kind of pushing back a little bit, like oh, no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But now let me ask you this:
Go ahead.
since the Karate Kid movie with Will Smith's son.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the guy is doing a Chinese martial art more so than an Okinawan style, whatever. Were you able to identify what that was that he was doing? Was there a style associated with? It was kung fu. So what did you think of that? Because I didn't think the style was not as passive as Miyagi's was. I thought it was definitely a much more aggressive in terms of its implementation. What did you think about his training versus Miyagi's training in the between the two films?
I think it was you can't go versus apple versus oranges kind of thing because you're talking about two different styles, completely different. And like you're saying like judo versus karate. Again, different styles. Do I think he did a great job in it? Absolutely. I think they did a great job in the movie. different styles, different everything. So it's not a fair statement to say I agree on these together.
Hmm.
So what I will say confidently say this is it was a very good style. It's a very good movie, but yeah, I can't compare apple versus oranges here, kind of thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And but what you also now what I will give the newer movie credit for as well. I thought the tournament fighting was better.
The new one, with
The newer
Will
one
Smith.
with Jaden Smith. I thought
Absolutely,
the tournament
absolutely.
overall, like all the fighters
Yeah,
in it
because
and
in my
whatnot, I thought you had more talented guys, guys who truly weren't just guys who just learned the martial arts for a movie role. I thought the kids in there, and also the fact that the kids were younger also gave me some insight that these guys have been studying, for a good amount of time. Because I think, obviously the kids in Karate Kid were like, high school, late high school kids, where these guys were probably like still in grammar school, like 10, 12 year olds more so than high school kids.
So I agree with saying with this. I'm not pushing back one bit. Um, some of them, the actors did have some real training behind it. Chucky Chan, for a good example, he had some real fucking training. So yes, I would say yes to that. But where my little pushback is with the tournament style, that's how they actually compete in real life over in China, in that kind of like high end stage kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I cannot sit back and tell you, that is different versus this and that. I can't sit down and tell you that because I'm gonna be a hypocrite saying that because I don't know how it is. From my understanding, that's how they train
Right.
overseas. I
But
mean,
now,
compete.
you've taken you still also study some kung fu as well, or is that
Yeah, my style is a mixed martial art. It's karate
right?
and
So
kung fu.
you've had a taste or delve in both of
Absolutely,
those
yeah. The
worlds.
style
So
is yes, it's kung fu. I will say that. But I mean, the way they do the tournaments, from what I researched, the tournaments over there overseas in China, it's like a wrestling event for us. When WWE comes to town, kind of thing.
mhm.
So everybody rush or a big football game. What I'm saying. So that a karate tournament, a kung fu tournament is a big thing over there. So that's why you see all the stage, the high stages, the cameras, the
Mhm.
lighting. That's how it is over there. But the
Yeah,
style of kung fu, absolutely, yeah. That's why you see him up there, eliminate, the snake technique, all that stuff when he went up to the monastery and trained with them. Got give him credit. Great job there.
yeah, yeah. It like I said, that one I thought they could have probably did a sequel with that one if they wanted to. So
It was
I'm
actually planned to do one, but there was too much backlash how it was in this thing. And I think here's my problem with the only thing that I always say back to it. They should not name the Karate Kid. It should be a Kung Fu Kid instead.
yeah, they
I
definitely
think that's
they
what it
definitely
was.
used
The
to.
pushback.
Yeah, and that would have been or if they went with a whole nother name entirely, like you're watching it, it's like, oh, this is the Karate Kid. You know what I mean? So they could have even if they called the Kung Fu Kid, everybody wouldn't even thinking about it anyway. So again, a totally new title would have been interesting as well. How they play with that, but again, they went to the familiar. It's like somebody who loves their ice cream. You know what I mean? It's like, if you love butter pecan ice cream and whatnot, it's like, we're gonna give you butter pecan ice cream, and I think they did that certainly with that movie, and they're definitely giving it to you in the Cobra Kai series. Only more because they're giving it to you with the hot fudge and all the stuff on it. Again, it's like, oh man, Johnny and Dan Yusan teaming up, and oh yeah, this guy from, oh yeah, I remember whatever happened to that guy. Oh yeah, what happened to Chosen? Oh, what happened to the girl from Karate Kid too, the Japanese girl. Oh, what happened to all these people? So they just fed you this barrage, and then when they brought Allie back, then everybody was like, cause I remember back in the day, guys were like nuts over Allie in terms of finding a very attractive woman. So it's like, man, these people who you see all these years later, and some folks age better than others. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those Cobra Kai guys, especially the one Cobra Kai guy, I think he died of cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was kind of tough to see because these were the guys like, and he was like the craziest guy. right? Everybody remembers that line from the first movie. Get him a body bag, yeah. Like that was like such a big.
That season kind of hit me home for me. I'll tell you why. This is
Mhm.
before my mom was diagnosed with cancer, because you see him dying in the show from cancer. By the way,
Yeah, yeah,
put him in a body bag. I don't remember if he died from cancer or what he died from.
yeah. He died shortly thereafter, or around that
Days.
time. Yeah,
Couple days
yeah.
later.
It was
After
pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy that how
Yeah,
that
because
went.
back then they aired it the whole season on one shot. Not like when Netflix is doing half now and half later.
Right.
But it hit home for me. I'm like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
I was like, how ironic could that be? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it got me a little goosebump there. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
To you. Like, whoa.
Right.
This is
But just seeing the
too close
people
up.
like, nearly 40 years later, and you see how some people age well and some people don't. Like even like I said, a lot of those Cobra Kai guys didn't look as intimidating, certainly all that time later. But again, I mean, Ralph Macchio always had a young. I mean, he was 20 when he did it. So,
He still looks
so
like
you know,
he's fucking same age. You just look grayer. That's all it is.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. When Karate Kid 3 came out, the guy was like 30 years old. So it's like he's definitely not a kid at this point. So again, it became much harder to to pull that off. As a 30-year-old basically playing a teenage character. So that I don't think that aged well. Incarnation. But
Even,
again, William
Johnny-
Zabka, yeah, he
Johnny
took
aged very well for his age.
yeah.
I
Well, I
give him
think he
credit.
actually, for a while after Karate Hit, he actually made some movies. They weren't like major movies, but he stayed in the martial arts genre of films for a while. He just basically rode that. And I remember seeing, he had back then he had like a lot of like direct to HBO movies that he was in.
I don't remember that.
And in
but
every
I
movie, he
do-
played like a martial artist or something like some sort of tournament fighter or something like that.
I do remember he came back in what show was that? How I Met Your Mother as like a surprise gag. Oh, listen, we brought this guy for you to teach. He's a real karate. He said even back then before the Cobra Kai show came out, he's the real karate kid, not Danny. And he was in his host. I'm like, quiet. Like he was like starting to do the whole quiet thing before he came back as Cobra Kai. So I think the medication, I guess not medication. I would say the roots of the show's planet a long time before that. They were just writing for the right script at the right time to actually say, hey, this is actually it needs to come out, and they did. I think they did a great job overall. I have even the last season, bro. You gotta watch the last couple, the last season.
Yeah, I will. No doubt. Now let me ask you just a side note, since we've been talking about. When I get the time, man. So this last week was very busy, but side note, because I know we talked about the movies, and I know we talked about the obviously the show. Did you see the music video from No More King, Sweep the Leg?
No, I didn't hear that, Simon.
You never saw that. Okay,
No.
so I'm gonna drop this in your private in the private chat.
Okay.
But this you have to see, because this was back in 2007, where they essentially got the band back together then. So this isn't the first time. Well, a lot of those Cobra Kai guys and everybody got back together. There was a music video called "Sweep the Leg" by a group called No More Kings. Like I said, I just put it in your private chat that you got to see as well, because it brings back a lot of those guys in the and the song is actually pretty funky for the time. So it's kind of like a rock rap song, but but yeah, so they've kind of had this kind of thing before, and people were asking whether or not that they were gonna try to get the band back together even back then.
So
But
let me
it's
ask this question. They already
yeah.
announced they're going to do a new movie coming out next year. They had this whole thing on YouTube. I'm going to be on Facebook. They're searching for the next Karate Kid. They want to give somebody a zero acting. I'm gonna say zero acting. No name to come on and be the next Karate Kid. They're very say. Rumors are here. Let me pull this up really fast because I don't want to give anybody wrong information. So the cast at this moment, and again, this is not official. Keep that in mind, guys. Is Jackie Chan, Ralph is supposed to be there, and some other guys. J.D. Smith is supposed to be coming back too. A bunch of actors that are been in the Karate Kid show. Stuff. Johnny's supposed to be back. All these guys. So what do you think about that? That is a big like.
Again, for the faithful, I think it'll go over well with them. Will they attract new people? I don't know. But like I said, I didn't know that the Cobra Kai series would attract as many new viewers as the old. So
I was questioning when I first heard about this. I thought, okay, this is gonna be a shitty fucking idea. Who cares about Cobra Kai? I mean, I was back before I knew the story. I was like, Danny was the hero. Danny was the hero. Danny was the hero. He was the only thing I'm like. And when I actually saw that, and it broke it down to me, I'm like, oh, this makes more sense. When I saw, okay, they actually bring some old actors back. Danny they're bringing back, and some other guys. I was like, oh, this could be good actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking about it. I was working at East Stroudsburg University at the time, and we were all talking about it. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. This is going to be real fucking good.
Yeah.
They were like arguing like this is going to be a stupid shit. Like, and then everybody's talking about it. I had a whole kitchen talking about this when I was done.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, they but again, the typical Hollywood formula is that they're gonna squeeze all the juice out of it. so they
they already said this is the last season. 6 is the last season. That's it. They're done after that. The writers didn't want to go over 6. They said if they're washing their hands and walking away.
Is Zabka going to be in this movie also?
Who?
William Zabka, Johnny.
Yes, that's what they're saying. It's not on this list, but he said he's going to be in it. Because when they were doing that whole promotion, like, the next credit kid come in and, audition, yada, it was, I can't pronounce his fucking name. Machio and, help me out, Paul, who plays Johnny.
Oh, William Zabka.
Those two were doing the trailer. Then you had a little scene like Jackie Chan in the background, like come on, and audition kind of thing. And like I'm just curious where direction they're taking this movie, because if Jackie Chan's in it, I'm just don't know how this direction they're going with it. That's where like I know they're bringing some actors from the show in it, like his daughter, like not a real daughter, obviously, from the show, who plays Samantha. She's supposed to be in it. So you got Smith in it. I'm like, okay, not the actual real Smith, but you get the idea. No fun, King. I know he's back there. I'm gonna have to throw that little joke in there. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just curious where this goes.
Yeah.
I would say right now.
Yeah.
What's your opinion about this movie so far?
Again, like I said, I can't argue with what they put together so far. Where I thought initially it'd be overkill. I've enjoyed it. Certainly, I got to get caught up on the series. Again, bringing the all-star ensemble together. Some people can't get enough of it. Some people think it might be going too far. But I don't know how much new ground they're going to break on it. But again,
I would say one thing, like, and I think I spoke too much for you, but towards the end of now, where we're at with the karate stuff, they're doing a big tournament to close the whole chapter out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this, like it's kind of tournament you have to be invited. You can just show up and go compete. It's invite only. So, and this is supposed to, kind of set up the movie the way they're gonna close it out. So I'm kind of curious where this goes, because I was one of you guys. Like, I was doubtful. Like, I didn't think this is gonna be a good movie, a good show, anything. And like, it was like, it's kind of like I think we had enough of Karate Kid. All the 3 was good. The new one was good. Whatever. Now I've been watching. I'm like, okay, I need more. But I don't want to do anything. Like I said before, anything between 6 to 8 seasons, and definitely anything over season. It just, to me, is way too much. You should end it at some point. And I was curious after the 3rd season, like, how far can you take this? How much more story can you do? And they have done it. And like the only last thing I can see him, twist in the second half of the 6th season is maybe Silver comes out of the show somehow. That's the only way I can see it.
Yeah.
So let's see. But you want to give your final thoughts when we get the hell out of here?
Yeah. Again, it's they just like they did with Rocky. I thought they certainly they had hit a great formula with the Karate Kid concept and movie. I thought at the time certainly was very inspirational. Had definitely a Rocky vibe to it, or certainly a David and Goliath type of thing, which always is going to sell. Everybody always likes to choose the underdog. And again, but that's something that it's enduring. And the fact that folks, there's always been. I've watched several YouTube retrospectives on the Karate Kid franchise and whatnot. And again, it certainly just like the Rocky films, it definitely holds a place in people's hearts for the nostalgia of it, the purity of it. I think to an extent. Again, unless you're like a diehard martial arts person who just wants to see great, terrific fight scenes and choreography and whatnot, but even that gets tiring after a while because then it borders the lines of realism, especially when you get these guys doing the wire work and all that kind of stuff. So, do you want to see this whirling dervish of choreographed moves, or do you want to see real people? And for a lot of people who decide to take up martial arts, it's not always again to beat up people. Sometimes it's to help them better find who they are as a person. So this is that's an aspect of martial arts that seldom gets talked about. Is that what it does for people? I mean, Daniel in certainly in Cobra Kai, he went on to become a very successful businessman. And where Johnny went with it again because of the relationship issues. Also talks about the power of relationships. So again, I think the Cobra Kai series does a lot. It can bring in humanity, even like I said, even to the villains, to Kreese and just the situations that he found himself in, that he could I did not criticize Cobra Kai. I gave it the highest compliment. But having said that, though, the tournament fighting in Cobra Kai, that wasn't point fighting. All right, it wasn't just scoring stuff, or whatever. They allow kicks to the head and all those kind of things that you don't typically see in that.
Actually, there was point fighting in the show and the movie.
I didn't see what in the first. I didn't see that.
Yeah, go watch them back and watch it. It is. I bet you $100 right now. I'll bet you my hair.
I don't have any hair to give. I don't have any hair to give you.
I bet
so
my hair. I didn't say your hair. You don't have any. I bet my hair. And you put $100, I'll put my hair. How's that sound?
Now, look, folks were getting hit with real strikes. Once they point fighting, a lot of times, again, you either hit light or you hit shortly before hitting the target. Guys getting hit. Daniel had busted, had rib issues going into that last.
Back in the day, that's how a point system was.
Oh, now you're saying. Wait a minute. Now you're saying back in the day. I'm saying in the Karate Kid movie and all the subsequent ones after that, guys were getting hit.
Yeah.
The head, the kick to the face. I mean, if from what you're saying, if there was point fighting, that crane kick at the end
Absolutely.
of.
I'm not disagreeing with that bit. What I'm saying, like the roundhouse kick to the ribs when he got, that's fair strike. We would go full blow back in the day, but it was still point system. But some places, the back, groin, and face was off limits. It was if you get the face in a black belt division. They were I remember I was in every black belt meeting. They always go over the rules for us, and they used to say, because black belts used to judge too sometimes for the younger crowds. And I remember I was in black belt. I remember one moron put his hand up. He goes, yeah, what's up? He goes, like, what about black belt defense? What about it? The sensei who's running the tournament, he goes, so if, contact to the face, like, she goes, listen, if you get contact, you get hit in the face, you got a busted fucking nose. And Zach Worth, she said, a busted fucking nose. You do not deserve the word out black belt. You should be able to block yourself by now. And she has a good point there. But in a real karate tournament, face is usually off limits. I like contact if you do something, but usually it's off limits. So it depends on the tournament.
Well, like I said, I mean, certainly in Olympic Games. In fact, it just happened again this Olympics. Again, guy got hit in the head, and the guy's coming down. So again, to defend himself, he comes down. You're meaning to hit in that mid target of the body, but because the guy dips his head down and makes contact with your fist, you get disqualified because of that. I think that's bogus.
That's a bullshit.
Yeah, but it's happened. It's happened in subsequent in back-to-back Olympics where I've seen the same thing happen. So no. So all I'm saying is like no. If you are gonna fight in a tournament for real, then definitely I would say I would definitely say karate is a sport. I put it in the, like I said, go back and watch those karate tournaments. Fighting Black Kings from 1975, the Kyoshi Shinkai, all martial arts tournament. They fought it. That was MMA before there was MMA. I mean, that was like you had kung fu guys fighting martial arts guys, fighting Thai boxers, fighting whoever it was, and guys were getting hit, guys were getting knocked out, guys getting carried out on canvases and stuff. So again, that to me is as good as sport as you can get in that. But anything that again doesn't reward a person going out there and doing what they need to be doing, then absolutely, I don't regard that as certainly not as a sport. And
One thing I will say, the sport has evolved so much over the years since I was
Right.
even back in the Karate Kid era. It was like I remember like in the late mid '90s or late '90s, early 2000s, you taped your hands, mouth guard, cup, go at it. And like the best guy wins. Now
Yeah.
I remember when I first time had to put gloves on, I'm like, the fuck is this shit? I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I remember feet guards. I'm like, the fuck is this shit? Then I had a pair of headgear. Like, okay. I'm like when they told me you had a pair of chest protector, like, okay, then I'm not doing this shit. I'm not going to come. We literally most black belts got up and walked out, and we're like, whoa, okay, you guys don't have to wear it. And then they made it optional if you want to wear a protected chest piece. I'm like, seriously, like I'm going to break your fucking ribs no matter what.
Yeah.
Like whatever. But that will be end of the show. Paul, do me a favor, stick behind for 5 minutes after the show. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So guys, a fan of Karate Kid or not, you gotta give him credit where it's due. It's been a very, very, very good show over the years, and I think it still continues to be one of the best. So I think, you like it or not, hate it, whatever your comment is, you can't deny it. It has survived over the years. It's still gonna survive. Let's see who's gonna be the next Karate Kid to pass the torch on.
Right.
Except that I always do that. He is Paul, Mr. President. I am Guru Reviews, a.k.a. Guru Reviews. Oh, hang on. I'm going too far ahead of myself. Tomorrow night is the special night tomorrow night. So, King, I hope you're listening to this one. You're going to like this one. CQ, Pop Culture Warrior, is on the gray area. He's going to be on the hot seat. We're interviewing him tomorrow night. So, we're going to be speaking to him about his struggles, his life, his injuries, his military career, his personal career, his pop culture career. He's pre-opened a book, so he's going to talk stuff. Obviously, I know him pretty well. He's my best friend, so I got to put him on a hot seat. So, and next Friday, I will be out of town, but I will be on game night with CQ on his channel. So check me out on the Pop Culture Warrior. Except that, Paul, you got anything else before I close out officially?
Nope, good.
All right, he's Paul. I am Grooming and Reviews 101, a.k.a. Ghost of Sparta. As always,